We should be safe here for the time being. I'm well acquainted with Professor Yuritsa, but the rest of you are this year's Blue Lions, I presume?
That's correct. But if I may, how did you come to be wearing our uniform? Also, how do you know Professor Yuritsa? Were you enrolled at the Officers Academy?
She's one of last year's students. A Black Eagle.
That would make you our senior, but what are you doing in a place like this? Well, I was just on the verge of graduation last year when I was kidnapped by the strangest people. In truth, I thought I'd never breathe fresh air again. Thank you for coming when you did. Oh, where are my manners? I'm Monica von Ox, eldest daughter of the Empire's Baron Ox.
Monica, there we go. There she comes to play.
Yes. I think I understand. This all began when the knights lost sight of the bandits and you gave chase. Afterward, you entered a suspicious fortress and rescued a missing student. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll be sure to smooth things over for you once we're back.
Sounds good. But, why are you even here, Alois?
Because the knights sent for help after you left them behind. Did you expect anything different? Not that I'm trying to lay blame at your feet. I know you were following Professor Yuritsa's lead, so I think everyone involved can head home knowing they did just swell. For as you know, all...
Even Yuritsa didn't like his joke.
Another student's abduction.
I never said I was kidnapped by bandits.
You didn't?
We saw others in the fortress. People who were clearly not bandits. This is just a thought. But what if they were the ones truly in charge, and the bandits mere pawns?
Yeah, there was one real piece of work. Kranya, I think? Who managed to escape. I've seen all kinds of people as a mercenary, and she was definitely not your everyday bandit.
You're on the right path. Perhaps I should just tell you who kidnapped me, seeing as I already know.
What? Why didn't you mention this earlier?
Everyone was busy speculating, so it was difficult to cut in.
What do you know, child? Out with it.
Well, the one who kidnapped me was Tomas the librarian. I'm certain of it. I could tell from his gait, and how he held his staff. I suppose he isn't the simple scholar you think he is.
Tomas? Impossible! But Tomas has been at Garrick Mach even longer than I have. I don't want to believe it, but based on what you say, we've no choice but to investigate.
But Sir Alois...
Be on guard. If Tomas is in league with Kranya, he is dangerous.
Very well. I will quietly report the matter to Lady Rhea and leave the decision in her hands. Not a word of this to anyone. Is that clear?
They don't want to escape.
Now things are getting interesting. Honestly, did not see this coming. So what do you make of this Kranya? Why do you think she was at the fortress?
You seemed preoccupied with her during the battle. She a friend of yours?
Sadly, I wouldn't know. My memory is but a shadow at this point. Gone, vanished, lost. I remember meeting you, but before that, nothing at all. And yet, the moment I saw her, I was struck with the most inexplicable feeling. I couldn't tell you if it was revulsion or affection. It was simply pure emotion.
And here I thought I had it tough.
Are you worried about me? How adorable! Oh, but I do love that about you.
And so, the knights have been ordered to apprehend Tomas. As it happens, he's been absent from Garrick Mach for the last several days. They are using this opportunity to prepare quietly, and intend to seize him upon his return.
Hard to believe someone within the monastery was working against us.
It's shocking, yes, but we have testimony from the very person he abducted. Not to mention all the other evidence they found.
Well, it's not the real Tomas, but they don't know that. And Big F's not gonna find out here.
No surprise they want to bring the guy in.
This could be our only chance to find out about his co-conspirators. So who is this Tomas guy anyway? You say he works in the library?
He used to help me track down all manner of obscure books. I always thought he was just a kind old man. Tomas is the last person I picture as a murderous kidnapper.
I asked around, and it seems he's been in his current position for over 40 years. Why he choose to lash out at the church now is beyond me.
Maybe his feelings aren't new.
Even if that's true, what is the point of kidnapping a student?
The whole thing with Maka was always weird to begin with because they kidnapped her, allowed her to break free, and then turned out she was Kronya. But why'd they wait that long? Why wouldn't they just return her? If they really want to do it, they should return her right away. It'd make more sense that way. Or they could return her to her family. It just doesn't make any sense how that's handled. Especially since in this game, you basically rescued Maka before she was replaced by Kronya. But why would they hold her that long? Even if it was like a few months since the last school year. I don't know.
No point in guessing. We'll know the truth as soon as the church snatches him up.
Will we? I doubt they'll just reveal their findings to anyone who asks.
Your Highness, did this man hire the bandits that attacked you in the mountains?
That's what I'm told, but I've yet to confirm it. There is evidence that seems to link them.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to feel a lot less safe after this.
You're not alone. Rumors are flying around the monastery about who else might be a traitor.
You'd think the church would do a better job vetting the people they employ.
Maybe it's not so easy to... Hey, do you hear that? Something's happening outside.
Are they ready at the gates?
Yes, sir. Every exit is covered.
Well, well, it sounds like Tomas has returned. I don't know why I know this, but you need to get out there, and quickly.
Wait, where are you? Of course.
There he is!
That man down there.
Lady Rhea wants to speak with you. I suggest you accept.
This doddering persona of mine will benefit me no further.
I think Mach has a different voice too. But he has the same voice as a Solon. Or maybe not.
Such hubris from mere vermin. You will pay for
No, he has a different voice.
Find him!
Right! What he did was just like...
Okay. Crisis in Fhirdiad.
Crisis in Fhirdiad.
Upon his return to Garreg Mach, the humble Tomas shapeshifts and flees, and not even the Knights of Ceres's most concerted efforts can track down the erstwhile librarian. Dimitri elects to keep an eye on events from afar and not involve himself in the disturbance. Soon, however, an urgent message arrives from Fhirdiad, capital of the Kingdom of Fargus.
Well, that was certainly an unexpected conclusion to the whole Tomas saga. Thanks to his shapeshifting ability, he slipped free of the knights and escaped.
Shape-shifting.
Yes, that's what I said. Also, I know what you want to say next. His powers are just like the ones you gave me. Don't feel like sharing, All the same, I saw what you saw. Clearly, we don't have a monopoly on shapeshifting.
And now that everyone knows about Tomas, at least they've had the grace to keep it to themselves.
It's because they trust you. Hold on, someone's coming.
Okay.
There you are.
Something wrong?
No, I simply wanted to check in after the unsettling events of the other day.
I kinda try not to dwell on stuff like that, but I admit I'm having more trouble shrugging this off than usual. It's gonna make my life a lot harder if my powers end up being evil.
At no point did anyone in the past ever mention anything about our powers. She didn't say anything about our powers to anyone. Nobody found out or saw anything. I mean, this doesn't make any sense that she's saying this now.
Perhaps. And yet... How do I put this? Power is neutral. The good or evil of it comes from the one who wields it. For example, I possess extreme strength, and have always believed this gift was bestowed upon me so that I might protect others. And you used your power to save us, which means it cannot possibly be evil.
Didn't mean to fish for sympathy there, but, well, thanks.
My apologies if I overstepped.
I've been looking all over for you, Prince Dimitri. Her Grace the Archbishop is asking. She requests that you come to the audience chamber immediately. Duke Fhirdiad has arrived for a visit.
Rodrigue is here? I'm on my way. Let us continue this discussion later.
Hold on. What did you say?
I've only just heard the news, so I'm a bit hazy on the finer points. But it seems my uncle has seized control of the capital and declared war on House Fhirdiad. All signs point to him wanting to stamp the line out entirely.
That's Felix's family, right? They're one of the kingdom's leading houses. What does the royal family gain from eliminating them?
I'd wager it has to do with House Fhirdiad supporting my claim to the throne.
The bigger question is why the Grand Duke chose to launch an offensive now of all times.
Whatever the reason, he must have decided to act before His Highness's coronation could take place.
My uncle claims House Fhirdiad is attempting to install me as their puppet. As such, he issued a written appeal to the Western Lords to help him rescue me from the Duke's foul clutches, as he puts it.
Oh, interesting.
In what cruel world would our noble house take the reins of a boar like you?
Don't ask me, it's his pretext.
So what exactly is going on in the capital? You said it's been seized.
Oh dear. I do hope nobody there has been met with foul play.
He's in no position to engage such a move until I've been removed from the situation.
I say the Regent should be dealt with. I haven't heard one good thing about his leadership.
I've no intention of becoming a pawn in this game. All the same, I must return to Fargus at once. Didu, you will accompany me.
That's pretty fast. We're already going to a Fhirdiad.
As you wish, Your Highness.
Felix, I'm sure your father will contact you soon. For now, just wait for Rodrigue to weigh in.
Ash? Sorry, it's just that Lenato used to be in the Grand Duke's service, so...
He is a man of compassion. It's not out of the question he'll be swayed to my uncle's side. Truth be told, we're not sure where anyone's allegiances lie at this point, so let's not hasten to conclusions, any of us. We must all keep level heads. I'm told you are sending the knights to help us, Lady Rhea. I do not wish to sound ungrateful, but are you sure you want to do that?
The Church of Seros cannot overlook this grievance.
Regrettably, many of our knights were dispatched elsewhere several days ago on another matter. However, while we may lack numbers, we have put together a unit of considerable skill. It will be captained by someone near and dear to you, in fact. Someone well suited to a mission within the kingdom.
Someone near to... Ah, of course. That is encouraging.
Since its very inception, we have watched over the kingdom of Fargus as one would their own child. When its peace is threatened, the Church has no choice but to act.
I have not forgotten your outpouring of aid after my father's passing 4 years ago, and I swear to repay that kindness in full.
One other thing, a suggestion, if you will, from the Church. Interesting. So she wants all of us to go with you?
Okay, so she's not saying that the knights that are accompanying us are going to be the students, but she's just the students go with the help as probably maybe like a part of a mission essentially. I think the actual one she's referring to is Gilbert. Gilbert's gonna come with us.
Yes. This time, the Knights of Seros will be accompanying us, in addition to Professor Yuritsa.
Well, I certainly don't mind, but But Annie and Ash, what about you?
You know I'm always behind you. But considering what it means for my uncle, I don't know. House Dominic's lands are surrounded by other houses that are likely to support Rufus's claim. If I join you, it could sour my family's relations with our neighbors.
I'll go. I mean, of course I don't want to get Lenato into any trouble, but I also know he'd want me to do what I think is right.
I'm sorry to place such a difficult decision on your shoulders, Ash. And what of you?
I'm in. The more time I spend here at the Academy, the more I miss actual fighting. Besides, I want to use my powers to help. After all, the good or evil of a thing comes from the person wielding it. Am I right?
Indeed it does. You have my thanks.
There you go again, throwing yourself headlong into the first conflict you find. No wonder I have to keep stepping in to guide you. Still, we basically have no choice, so run wild, I guess.
I'll inform you of the details soon. Please ensure you're prepared by then.
Okay. I think we're finally get base camp. Yep. Okay, so first thing first. We just lost Annette. So Annette's currently unavailable, and it's funny because she was available in the previous chapter, the previous one either. But we've got everyone else. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters. Storehouse. Amiibo, huh? Do you know what sort of life is the highest led by left living Fhirdiad before coming to the Academy? I'll tell you. Our parents guarding him, the Grand Duke provided an escort who watched every movement at all times. Nothing committed, no crime. He's basically put in our house arrest. Where is he in Reddit's layers? Can you imagine that? You admired knights and the fringes can do nothing for him. This time I'm going to help. That's why I fled the cabin and came right here. Okay.
So listen.
Rus has always been a sharp one. I'll tell you what. None could match him when he came to political acumen. While everyone recognized his talent, he had no crest. So throw an Equin at his younger brother Lambert. Lambert was the poor opposite brother in nature and temperament, but he possessed the natural genius and merit tactics. I kept wondering what would happen if the pair of them could work together to govern the kingdom. Okay, I think when it shows all of these comments here, they have like a symbol above their heads. I think that means that you must talk to them to progress. But before it showed a bunch of characters who are blue. Like here, Gilbert's blue. So I don't think we have to talk to him, but we can.
This way.
Try to command the Knights of Zeros of coming battle. Should you rise, I feel rely on me. I'll pray any hard to come to students at Office Academy. Until you know what to do with the sword. Perhaps my only saving grace. That does not mean everyone with blue lamps will be joining us. SM must have had some reasons not coming along, huh? I suppose so, yes. Oh, and interesting enough, he was blue on the map. We have all these other characters who are orange. Does that mean that they're... I guess they're not technically characters, they're just NPCs. So maybe if they're named, even if they're not blue, it won't matter, but who knows. I bet this meeting coming for Fhirdiad, that's been cancelled. Sorry the time for that now. I'm sure about what the king went to meet the leaders Dusker, yes? They were beset by attackers Dusker on the way here there. All were killed, only young prince made it. So they marched an army and sent soldiers to raise Dusker immediately. In the meantime, Fhirdiad is all in chaos without a king. Dusker really made a mistake there. They're all going to be punished for the action of a few extremists. Still, consider what they did, maybe they deserve it. I suppose that means you can order trade Dusker. Shame. There's going to be mine near Gwenhavar, and the boxes are exceptional. No matter what, I don't do it until returned. Interesting. So, yeah, I can't. I think at the previous one too, all the named characters had a blue icon.
Oh, that's right.
Think about it. I heard something when leaving Garrick Mock. The press reached south of the Imperial capital with the Black Eagles. Not mistaken, most of the Knights Zeros had some sort of business which kept them join us in this mission. I'm just not kind of related, but I wonder what Aang there is doing. Wait, Yuri's not here?
Nice day we're having.
Are you still at Office Academy? I'm Rubik Akio Federalius. Very mad to stare at the maelstrom we find ourselves in. We might apologize for getting you involved in this recent discord. Miss Flick's dad. Indeed, I hear you've been quite the boon to my son. Their strength will be essential if we take the royal capital. So I'd ask your aid in the matter if all possible.
Got a second?
Cheer up, Felix. Your dad's getting worried. I know about how pleasant it feels to have people make weird claims about your family. As you have all figured out, the thing that never bothered me.
You sure?
Really? Because I think most people would take issue with their family getting punished with a crime they can't actually commit. Here's my sound. That's what politics all about these days. There'd be no end to the anger of... If there'd be no end to the anger if you got frustrated at every slight to your very name. Probably blame me if a certain someone's decision is getting on my nerves. Vexer was Highness. You should say something to him. Watch out cheering him up for me. Are you sure it's okay, Ash? Lord that was once during the Grand Duke after all. Yes, when the concern says, he told me to hold on why I believe this was just. What did I ask your dad father, right? Not quite the man. Thanks. I'll be just like him someday. Exactly what I'm gonna do, I believe in, Ingrid, don't worry. Maybe rare suit to be a knight, Ash. To do? Oh, the Grand Duke. He tried to harm his eyes on countless occasions. His Highness first came against suppressing the rebellion in the West. That too was a plot of the Grand Duke. Only because of House Bardois did His Highness emerge unscathed. His assassination attempts continued unceasingly in the palace afterwards as well. And what happened with Lord King Lambert and Dusker. His Highness was aware of the man's ill intent. That was like a rumor in the original game, but never actually was something that was confirmed. Don't so glum, Dimitri. Everyone fights with their family at some point in their life. You wait like a rapier. Perhaps I do well pick up on a bit of that cheer. I have answered to my uncle, but I wager I'm not ready to apply. He's good at the preparations so we can set out immediately the fighting starts. I see you at everyone. The concerns must have appreciated. Wish to depart the moment everything's ready. Please be sure to rest till then.
The Duke has stamped out most of the troops who invaded Fhirdiad. As things stand, a clash on royal soil and eventually within the capital is inevitable. As you are the only blood kin I have, my lord, I pray we might find a way to resolve this conflict peacefully. Bah, what rubbish. He sings of conciliation, but I know a threat when I read it.
Shouldn't you take better care of a letter from your dear nephew, my lord?
Cornelia.
He's not expecting a reply. The creature means to slay me.
Your fear of Prince Dimitri runs deeper than I thought. You shouldn't have missed your chance 4 years ago in Dusker, or 2 years ago during the suppression of the rebellion. That's twice you failed to kill him.
I've learned my lesson. A lion's cub is still a lion, and one cannot slay a lion with a clumsy scheme. It's those monstrous eyes, Cornelia. They terrify me. The boy is a vicious animal, yet he attempts to feign actual grief that we can't find common ground.
In the original game, Rufus, Cornelia kills him and blames on Dimitri, and that puts Dimitri in trouble.
The aberrance of it shakes me to my core.
I understand completely.
Every night since I killed my brother, I dream a lion is ripping out my throat.
You'll run yourself ragged if you live your days in fear of revenge. You were meant to rule Fargus, and you have the power to make it so. Your royal army is the finest in the realm, and if I may be so bold, you also have me. Put your worries to rest, my king. Sleep deeply and without fear.
I'm so utterly tired. Tired of being afraid. Tired of what I've become. All of it.
I see. And how much longer until Tullus gives the word?
I know only that something is amiss in the Imperial capital.
Curse it all! I am not waiting 1,000 years for that doddering old fool to act. Rally the Western lords and their troops, and be quick about it. Have them make ready to intercept that whelp.
As you command, Cleo.
We never actually found out Cornelia's true identity in the original game.
According to our scouts, the enemy has positioned their troops on the capital streets.
So they can use the townsfolk as shields when we take the fight to them. With vulgar tactics.
Well, now that we know their strategy, our next move will be critical. A victory stained with the people's blood achieves nothing. We'll need to move our forces swiftly, but with caution. To do. Has there been a reply from my uncle?
Nothing of yet.
I thought not.
Your Highness, will you truly be able to strike Rufus down when the time comes?
I will do what is required of me.
Preparations are complete, Your Highness.
The people are waiting for you, Dimitri. Let's not keep them any longer.
No, we'd best not.
You're our commander, but you look like you're heading for a funeral. Could you maybe try not being so insufferable?
Apologies for my demeanor. I've more than a few things on my mind. But very well. Let's begin our final war, Council.
You look pale. Not keen on fighting your own blood?
Sadly, I saw this fight coming long ago.
Then what's the problem?
Now that I've brought the fight to the streets of the capital, I wonder if my actions are right. Most of the people here favor keeping the royal line of succession. That's because my father and the kings before him maintained peace inside these walls. But ever since my uncle seized power, the people have been forced to endure his licentious reign. Did you know they asked me to assume the throne before my time at the academy? They said only a true king could undo Rufus's misrule.
So why didn't you?
Because it would have divided the kingdom. Just as it's doing now. Yet had I supported my uncle's claim, it would have been open rebellion. And the only way to prevent such a rebellion is to invade the capital and kill the regent. In other words, I cannot restore my grandfather's peace without first breaking it.
In that case, there's no reason to hesitate. You know fighting is the only answer here. You just have to accept it.
My apologies. I have a bad habit of agonizing over such things. And as all of you have come this far to help me, the least I can do is make an attempt at optimism.